Rangers. Philippe Clement has finally spoken after his exit. Ali McCoist has made a tough Rangers confession, and Chris Boyd has called out a player for being miles off it. Jack Butland could be dropped. Barry Ferguson is making big changes, and Ianis Hagi might be on his way out. Stick around, because the last story will have you talking. We are the people. Philippe Clement is set to miss out on a new job at Royal Antwerp to his own former assistant at Rangers, Andries Uldering. The Belgian was dismissed from Ibrox last month after an embarrassing Scottish Cup exit at home to Queen's Park, followed by a defeat to St Mirren. Reports suggested Clement was on the shortlist for a return to management in his homeland, with Royal Antwerp looking for a new boss after sacking Jonas de Rook, despite securing a top 6 finish ahead of the playoffs. However, Antwerp have decided to overlook Clement and have instead turned to Uldering. The Dutchman was previously the assistant manager at Antwerp under Mark van Bommel before linking up with Clement in June. Uldering, however, left the club in January and returned home to the Netherlands due to a family situation. Now, he is set to take charge at Antwerp, leaving Clement without a job. Philippe Clement breaks silence on Rangers' sacking. Philippe Clement has spoken for the first time since his departure from Rangers. Clement has released a statement reflecting on his time in Glasgow. On Instagram, he wrote, "Dear Rangers, it has taken me a few days to fully process and accept the end of my time at this exceptional club. I leave with a heavy heart, frustrated and disappointed that I couldn't consistently bring the team to the level we all expected. I understand your frustrations and I share them. We worked passionately day and night, and while we faced challenges, I will never forget the many great moments we had together. Your unwavering support and the energy from the fans made those times truly special. In those moments, it felt like we were one big family. For that reason, Rangers will always hold a special place in my heart. Thank you, Felipe." Now, here's the real question for you. With Clement watching his former assistant land a new job while he remains unemployed, has his time at Ibrox permanently damaged his reputation as a top-level manager? Chris Boyd has named the Rangers player who is miles off it and highlighted the big decision Barry Ferguson must make as he looks to turn things around at Ibrox. There was plenty of fight shown in the second half at Kilmarnock, but that came after a shocking first 45 minutes, followed by a flat home defeat to Motherwell. Right now, this Rangers side is the opposite of what Ferguson promised when he took charge. No sign of the aggressive, attacking football he vowed to deliver. Ferguson insists he still has a plan to salvage the season, but he will need to prove it quickly, with Fenerbahce set to provide a much sterner test on Thursday night. Supporters are calling for Jack Butland to be dropped for Liam Kelly after his costly mistake against Motherwell, but defensive issues remain just as pressing, with Clinton Enciala and Robin Proper both struggling in recent weeks, forcing James Tavernier to shift inside to help out. Stephen Naismith has already flagged the defense as a major concern ahead of the Europa League clash, though he still believes the side has a chance of getting a result. There is some good news for Ferguson as John Soutar is fit and available again, and the manager expects him to make a big impact. Enciala and Proper both had poor outings against Kilmarnock, and while Proper kept his place for Motherwell, he was the one to be hauled off after another shaky performance. With Leon Balogun also making his return from the bench, Boyd has insisted that the Nigerian and Soutar must be the centre-back pairing in Turkey. The reason he believes Proper has been miles off it for quite some time. Speaking on the Scottish Sun's Go Ballistic, Boyd said, "John Soutar is back. Balogun came on at the weekend. I think that has to be the central pairing. And Ciala got the brunt of it last Wednesday night. Robin Proper is miles off it and has been for a period of time. Yes, James Tavernier moved into centre-back, but when the game is already underway, that shift is easier to make from right-back. At the weekend, it didn't work, with Yilmaz at right-back and I know it has worked against Celtic before. The balance was all wrong for Rangers. Proper was at fault for Motherwell's opener, taking far too long to step up after a clearance and playing Luke Armstrong onside to score. He was just as poor as Nsiala at Kilmarnock, and either one of them could have been taken off. Even Proper himself has admitted he struggles against the physical, direct style of Scottish football. As Rangers prepare for a massive Europa League night at Ibrox, Ferguson could shake things up with 3 key changes after yet another disappointing home defeat, this time a 2-1 loss to Motherwell. Rangers desperately need to bounce back. With both domestic cups gone and sitting 16 points behind Celtic, the Europa League is now the only chance of silverware. To boost their chances, Ferguson could make a bold move by dropping first-choice goalkeeper Jack Butland for Liam Kelly. A Butland's mistake against Motherwell just 9 minutes in set the tone for a shaky display, and many feel a change is necessary. In defense, Jefte could be taken out of the starting 11, allowing Leon Balogun to return, while James Tavernier moves back to his preferred right-back role. Jefte has struggled lately, and a spell out of the spotlight might help him reset. In midfield, Mohamed Diamande, Nico Raskin, and Connor Barron could all rotate, with Barron recently returning from injury. Diamande has been inconsistent, but Ferguson's faith in him seems to be paying off as his recent performances have improved. Despite their struggles in front of goal, Ferguson is expected to keep faith in his front 3 against Fenerbahce. Václav Cerny has been a key figure at Ibrox this season and should retain his place on the right, with Hamza Igmane on the left. Up front, Cyril Dessers, who scored Rangers' only goal against Motherwell, is likely to lead the line once again. Now, the big question for you: if Ferguson is willing to drop Butland, should he also take the tough decision to strip James Tavernier of the captaincy and give this Rangers team a fresh start? Ali McCoist has been forced into a tough Rangers admission as the takeover moves closer to completion, but for the Ibrox legend, the short answer is simple. If the club is swapping Manchester United's struggles for Leeds United's resurgence, he is all for it. A United States investment group led by businessman Andrew Kavanagh and heavily backed by the San Francisco 49ers is on the verge of securing a controlling stake in the Ibrox club. The news first broke last month, and now, according to reports, the deal is expected to be finalized in weeks rather than months. It comes as a huge development for Rangers supporters who have endured years of mismanagement while watching Celtic dominate under the current ownership. McCoist was put on the spot during a TalkSport segment on Tuesday morning, asked whether this was the change fans had been crying out for after more than a decade of frustration. His response was blunt and to the point. The short answer to that is yes, McCoist said. Rangers fans have been waiting, hoping and wishing for change, investment and proper leadership from the top of the club. I saw on the news yesterday that all the parties have agreed the deal, but there is still some due diligence to go through. You would hope it gets over the line. The bottom line is, Rangers need a complete overhaul from top to bottom. In many ways, it's a bit like Manchester United, and I take no pleasure in saying that. The club needs investment throughout, a change in outlook and direction. I was going to say they've become stagnant, but in reality, they've actually gone backwards, which clearly isn't acceptable. There have been concerns raised over whether the 49ers' investment in Rangers could be compromised by their controlling stake in Leeds. However, it is understood that Kavanagh, rather than Leeds chairman Parag Maratha, has been the driving force behind the takeover. For McCoist, the potential conflict of interest is not an issue because he sees Leeds United's progress as a positive example. I'm not worried at all because from the outside looking in, Leeds United appear to be in a good place, he added. That's the way I'm judging it. They don't look like they're throwing money around recklessly. Rangers don't need that. They just need to be reshaped, regrouped, and set on a new path. It's not an overnight fix, but if we can get the kind of change that Leeds have had, I'd be happy with that. Leeds look like they're heading back to the top flight with a solid structure behind them. Good manager, good players. If Rangers can achieve that, I'll be delighted. Now, the real question for you, should Rangers fans embrace this new ownership, or is there a risk that another foreign investment could leave the club vulnerable to external interests rather than true Ibrox leadership? Ioannis Hagi is expected to leave Rangers at the end of the season after what has been seen up close at Ibrox. The Romanian international began the campaign on the fringes, caught in a ridiculous standoff over his contract situation. After finally reaching an agreement with the club, he was given his chance under Philippe Clement and has since become a regular in the side. However, Hagi has been linked with a summer move to Fenerbahce and is already free to open talks with clubs abroad. With his contract at Ibrox expiring in June, there appears to be little movement in terms of securing his future in Glasgow. Former Rangers midfielder turned pundit Derek Ferguson believes the writing is on the wall for Hagi's departure. Speaking exclusively to Ibrox News, Ferguson explained that his prediction is based on what he has observed firsthand at Ibrox. It was a mess what happened earlier in the season in terms of his contract and not playing him, Ferguson said. Again, this all comes down to finances. Rangers have been struggling. The club came to some sort of agreement with him, and if I was him, I wouldn't have been too happy with it. Ioannis is saying all the right things, and I genuinely think he has a love for Rangers, but I don't think he wants to stay. I just see these things during games. Look at the Queen's Park match when he was taken off with 25 minutes to go when a goal was needed. Yeah, I think he'll go. Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, who Rangers face next in the Europa League, appear to be leading the chase for Hagi's signature. However, Turkish giants Galatasaray, along with Serie A side Genoa, have also been credited with an interest in the Romanian. For many Rangers supporters, losing Hagi would not be the biggest blow given his inconsistent performances in recent months. However, it does mean another key player will need to be replaced in the summer, adding to what is already shaping up to be a major rebuild at Ibrox. With Rangers set to face Fenerbahce, does Hagi deserve to start in what could be one of his final matches at Ibrox, or should Ferguson already be looking beyond him? If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.